And good morning, everyone. Today is May 12th, 2013. This is the Tech Club here on the RVN Network. I am Jason.
I'm Mish.
And happy Mother's Day, everyone. Technical difficulties this morning. Weather ain't that great here today.
Windy and a little chilly.
Actually, seems to be really cool for my
Happy spring.
Happy spring. We'll be in the 80s by the end of the week. So this is the Tech Club, of course. On today's show, we actually cover productivity software and services. May not sound the most interesting topic, but in reality, it's something that we use quite frequently, and things have actually changed quite a bit when it comes to this software. What is productivity software? Basically, it's Microsoft Office and services like that as well.
QuickBooks. Stuff like that. Anything that basically gets you money.
Helps you produce. Our website is smc.io. That's for Stone Mountain Consultants. That's who we are. So it's smc.io. Excuse me. On our page, on our website, actually, you'll notice all sorts of links to not just for our Google Plus and Facebook and YouTube and Twitter pages, but also show notes. You can, for example, click on shows and then go on over to today's show notes, and then anything that we reference on this show, like news articles or videos or anything like that, will be posted there. We'll also have a link to download the show. To listen, uploading, which will hopefully be later today. On the YouTube, if you do subscribe to the YouTube channel, the YouTube account, it will email you whenever we upload something to that channel. And of course, it's like any other YouTube channel. It's just kind of convenient. So once it's ready, you can just listen to it at any time you want on your iPhone or tablet or computer. Just kind of nifty and handy, and I use it quite often myself. A lot of other channels sometimes I listen to, or watch actually I should say. But yeah, if you go over there, our contact information is there as well, such as our phone number, our snail mail address. You can always email us at help@smc.io. The phone number to contact us there as well too. News for just a couple of articles that
Hey, welcome back here in the Tech Club. I'm still Jason. I think Mish is still Mish. Let me check. Yep, still me. We were actually running a little late on our news. A couple of the tech news items that were worthy for our show. I thought this was quite interesting. How, again, it's on our show notes on our webpage, but one of them is FBI counterterror agent, all phone calls in the U.S. recorded by the government, which I don't think comes too much of a surprise to quite a few folks. Former FBI counterterrorism agent has hinted at a vast and intrusive surveillance network used by the U.S. government to monitor its own citizens. This gentleman was Tim Clement, admitted on CNN, this was about a week and a half ago. He was discussing the Boston Marathon attack and past telephone conversations of Catherine Russell, who was the wife of the suspect, Tamerlan Sarnoff. Clement said that those conversations would be available to investigators, and she had gone on to say, yes, voicemail messages would obviously be. And he says, no, there is a way. We certainly have ways in national security investigations to find out exactly what was said in that conversation. It's not necessarily something that the FBI is going to want to present in court. So they get that. And he goes on and says, no, welcome to America. All that stuff is being captured as we speak, whether we like it or not. He actually even reiterated those same statements the next night on CNN, adding that all digital communications in the past are recorded and saved.
Yep. That is the echelon system. That is, excuse me, basically everything on internet, phone, cell phone is recorded. And it doesn't matter if you have a burner phone or not. It's just hard to find you or know that it's you on a burner phone, which is basically you go to Walmart and pick up a track phone and just activate it, and there you go. You have a phone. But all phone conversations are being recorded. What, as he kind of alluded, they can't show it in court, is the fact that it violates the Fourth Amendment, which means it would be thrown out in court right away because no warrant. But they can use, as they say, they can use that information to get real evidence. So, like, say, it says that I buried the gun off Route 2 in Connecticut, just past exit 55. Well, that evidence, they can't use that part of the evidence, but they can go get the gun and use that against me. We found this thing, has his fingerprints, there you go. Because what happens is they don't listen to themselves. This is actually how the CIA and most of the counterintelligence and all that kind of clandestine stuff, they have our allies do it for us, and we do it for them. So, like, the British are listening to our stuff, which means that they're not violating their laws, and we're watching the British. That file on Joe Schmo. It's very, very, very under the radar kind of. They how was I supposed to say it? They skirt the tails of the law. They're not supposed to be able to do this, but by giving it to somebody else, not my fault. I didn't do it. It's the British. So yeah.
And more news on, I guess you can say, tracking you. Nordstrom, the department store, has started tracking the customer movements via your smartphone's Wi-Fi sniffing.
Okay, I believe.
Basically, a company spokesman told a local TV station in Dallas-Fort Worth that sensors in the stores are now collecting information from customers' smartphones as those phones automatically scan for Wi-Fi service. And that's what most computers do, and basically anything that has a Wi-Fi connection, they're always scanning for a Wi-Fi network to join. The spokesman said that the sensors monitor which departments you visit and for how long. But the sensors don't actually follow your phone from department to department, and they don't identify personal information tied to a phone's owner.
Yet.
Well, at least that's what's being told. They said they basically turned on this technology in October, but they haven't done anything with the data it's collected. Of course, what they're saying that they're going to use this for is to get a better idea of customer traffic in their store, and if you're, as the article says, hanging out in a lingerie department, you could theoretically start getting advertisements for lingerie. They say they will eventually use these anonymous aggregate reports to enhance the shopping experience by, for example, increasing staffing during high traffic times, keeping more registers open, or by tweaking a department's layout. I would think that you'd also know increasing the staffing during high traffic times and keeping more registers open. You would know that by the people checking out.
This is true. That's kind of like, there were more people here because we're selling more stuff.
The store is posting signs to alert customers and to tell them that if they want to opt out, they can basically turn off the phones. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can just turn off the Wi-Fi of your phone in case that way you can still use the 3G connection and use your phone.
Yes. But one of the things I was thinking about when we talked about this is that some could screw with a lot of those statistics, because it's kind of like when you get sent, you send in I'm going to sign up for this one thing, and you give all this false information. You can mess with it. Like you and a group of, say 50 friends go in at 3 a.m. to the store, and all just hang out with your smartphones, playing, what's the word, Angry Birds. Leave your Wi-Fi on, and then at like 4 o'clock you go home, and just do that for a couple of days, and then they're going to be fully staffed at 3 a.m. and you can sit and laugh because they're just wasting money because they're actually not using any brain power.
Well, hopefully they'll know that the people at 3 a.m. didn't really do anything, but who knows? What was ironic to the story was the spokesman for the marketing director for Uselid. That's the company that apparently they're not giving out any information about how they're using the information and all that, which is ironic because the reason they're not doing that is because of privacy concerns, which is ironic because that's what actually they're collecting from you.
Yeah. There wasn't the guy named F.U.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric Fu.
Eric Fu.
Please want a kill switch for smartphones, which I know has been talked about in the past. Basically, the police could be able to kill a phone involved in a robbery or any type of thing like that when they can just shut it down. Mm-hmm. I know that Apple has a patent out there which has been approved to allow the phone company to shut down all phones in a given area. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if you're out protesting, you can shut down cell phone service. And even the BART system in San Francisco, which is the subway system out there,
yes,
they can and have already shut down phone service. There was going to be a planned protest, and they shut down phone service because that's a lot of people are communicating, organizing all this through social media, Twitter, and
heaven forbid something happens, like somebody's having a heart attack, and somebody needs to call 911.
Right.
Yes. I'll wait for that lawsuit to occur. Oh, I couldn't call 911. You turned off the phone system. Oh, you now owe me $40 billion because my parent died, and that would be bad. That's some bad PR right there. See, they think about what they can do, but they don't realize that the legality of it, plus also what somebody will do if something happens. Because, they turn off the cell phone. What if there is an emergency? What if there's another terrorist attack? And a terrorist right now. I'm trying to call 911 so I can get the information to stop this terrorist. I can't.
Well, I think you could still call 911.
Probably. But it's dumb.
Most cell phone service, even if you don't have cell phone service on a phone, it's been deactivated, you're getting rid of the phone or whatever, you can still dial 911, and that was a requirement by FCC, a number of years ago.
Exactly. The only thing it doesn't do is it transmits this weird number, and it doesn't give you actually your location.
No, it does.
The new phones do? The old ones didn't.
Yep, they do. The enhanced 911 does.
Nice.
Down to a grid.
Grid 451 Mark II.
Again, our topic for this week is productivity software. Basically, we originally were, going to talk about, Microsoft Office is the biggest form of productivity software that most folks are familiar with. Microsoft Office, of course, is just a product that they sell. Actually, it's one of their most, I think it's like a top 3 profit generating services or software that Microsoft sells is Microsoft Office.
Exactly, and it creates more money than the actual operating systems, which is kind of funny because most Office needs Windows to run except for the Mac version. Because they even have a Linux version. But if anybody remembers, because I do, the first version of Office. Well, Office basically is a bundle of their productivity software. You actually had to buy them separate. Break is coming up. We'll talk more about this after the break. Right back. And welcome back to the Tech Club this Sunday morning, rainy and windy and cold here in the southwestern version of area of Virginia. Not West Virginia, Western Virginia. Before the break, I was going over basically the original version of Office, which was basically Word, Excel. The Outlook didn't exist. Access, Publisher, and Power. Front page, yeah, because really the web didn't really exist. It came to you in, I think it was 50 or 60 floppy disks, stack of them, and books. Because back in the olden days of computer software, they actually gave you a book to explain to you, how do you use this program? Now you get a disk with a PDF on it, which is probably cheaper. Because,
print it out yourself.
Exactly, and it's on your dime to print out the 30,000 pages. And hopefully you have a duplexer so you can actually use double-sided. But when you would install it, you'd have Word, Excel, and all that. You can install certain parts. And but after that is when, and that was, I think, version 95? I think it was version 95. But then it started taking off, and that's when we got the CD-ROM technology. And then it was, I guess you say, re-released as Office. Because it wasn't really Office before. It was just an Office suite. Kind of like a bundle, but was deemed, this is now Office. And then they put it all together. And then, of course, with CD-ROM technology, you only got like 2 discs. Yay. And then from there on, it kept on just getting, they kept on advancing every couple of years. But the thing about Office is, it wasn't the first, and it really isn't the best, but it's the most popular. I would say the first was WordPerfect and Lotus Notes. It's hard to tell which one came exactly first. Probably can look it up on Wikipedia, but from my remembrance is that both were very around the same. It was late 80s that both were used. IBM thing, and it was used on all of their mainframes. That's how you did your spreadsheets and whatnot. Then they made a software base so you can put it on your PC. So, but WordPerfect was out there too, because I remember we used to use, I think it was, we had a Tandy, we had WordPerfect on it. And I remember that a long time ago. And if I remember it's Tandy, yes, that's an old computer. I don't think it was a sensation. It was before the Tandy sensation came out. But so Office programs, or that's what they're just called now, the productivity, where they have Word, Excel, a power, a presentation, a Word, so I guess word processor, and then a spreadsheet program. And most of the ones that were around are still around. Let's see, you can still get Lotus Notes, but it was bought by, I forgot who bought it, but the company, they renamed it. It's not called Lotus Notes anymore. Then WordPerfect was bought by Corel, and now it's just called Corel WordPerfect, and that, I think we're up to version 80.
Some high number like
yes,
that.
They had, because they've been around so long, they basically came out with a new version every year. And so since it's been around since the 80s, they're probably up to like 30, because it's only been like, if anything, like 20 or 30 years. But they would come up with a new version. That's why when you look at it, it's like, didn't know there was that, because it's an old program. But it's the Microsoft that actually trimmed it and made it look sold it and sold it and sold it to people, even giving it away free sometimes.
And WordPerfect did that too a lot, because a lot of the new computers actually come with WordPerfect.
Yep.
For free, actually.
Yep. And what Microsoft did to compete with that was they would then do the same kind of thing, but with a different program called Microsoft Works, which I like to call it's the baby brother of Office, because it can do spreadsheets, it could do word processing, but it's not Office, and it really doesn't work with Office. It uses its own format, whole 9 yards, and they would often put that free, because it actually costs $60 on the computer, and a lot of people even now still use the same program, which I find funny because it's 20, 30 years old. It's a program. Of course, they had newer versions, but I know somebody that still uses the old 97 version of Works. So that's a couple years old. But Word, Excel are the biggest one people use, or a word processor and a spreadsheet, because everybody needs spreadsheets because you need to amortize stuff. And word processing is because you write letters, mail merges, and all that kind of stuff. So that's the history, basically, of it. We'll go into more deeply when we come back. And welcome back. Before the break, this is the Tech Club. I'm Mish. That's Jason. And before the break, I kind of went over the history of Office and the different kind of programs and a little background history. Now let's go into the heavier-handed thing of Office now. What do you do now? And honestly, like before, you're not stuck to the Microsoft product, although you can get it. It's highly expensive. And I mean numerous versions of Office or productivity suites. I'll just go over them individually. I'll give you a list of a bunch of them, and then go over some of the differences between them. Okay, we got the new. I want to correct myself. The Lotus is actually still around. It's called IBM Lotus Symphony. It's funny, but there are some free versions of Office. They're called open or open source, which basically means that a bunch of people said, let's make you a piece of software and only charge you for the support. So if you're having trouble with it, they charge you with that. And anybody can make changes to it. So basically it's like you're making your house and your neighbors say, well, if you make it a gabled roof, you're going to have better, more attic space. Okay. And you take it under advisement and you make changes. They are OpenOffice, LibreOffice, and there's one other one. Let me see if I remember it. It's called a SoftMaker Free Office. Each one works, but like most of the open or the open source ones require to have Java installed on your computer, so that it does mean that you have to have something else on your computer.
Doesn't OpenOffice and Libre also require Java?
Yep. Although on the
it's just a huge security flaw. In fact, you take Java off on your computer.
So
you can't run OpenOffice, or
nope.
You're forced to run Microsoft Office.
Yes. course, I have the full version, so yeah. So it's kind of like it's less confusing than the operating systems, and there's only 3 of those really. There are Kingsoft OpenOffice. There is S Suite Office, Excalibur release, and then there's of course there's SoftMaker. There's Apache OpenOffice, because Apache is the company who actually absorbed them. They used to be just called OpenOffice. They're a bot. And then they have LibreOffice, IBM Lotus Symphony, which is free. You have Google Drive, which is basically an online office.
And that's something new that's starting to occur.
Yes.
With a lot of services, and we kind of had talked about that in our cloud show from a few weeks ago. Again, the cloud is the internet, basically having your data off-site somewhere else on somebody else's server.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming a little more popular with these word processing programs.
Mm-hmm.
There's Google Cloud, Apple iCloud, SkyDrive from Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
And the SkyDrive is actually integrated basically into the newest version of Office, which is Office 2013.
Which I think blows, but that's my own personal.
You can log on to, basically you create a SkyDrive account or an online account, and that will link up to that account, and you can actually save your documents and even edit documents and create documents in the cloud. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily on your computer. So I guess if you're a traveler, business person, you can have online to be able to access them, edit them, print them, and all that stuff. But they're adding collaboration with that too, where multiple people can collaborate with the same document, say an Excel document or a PowerPoint presentation. So you can have 2, 3, 4 people working on the same document at the same time, and you can, even
so one person can screw it up and be like, son of a. Right. But the other 2, and these are also web or cloud-based, are other than the Google one, is Think Free Online and Zoho. Zoho.
Zoho is a big one.
Yes.
They just don't do word processing suites like that, but they're a whole gamut of.
Yes.
I think they're like a CRM.
Yep.
Customer relationship manager, management of service, and all that. So they're pretty big in that. And if you're looking for something in that world, Zoho and Salesforce are probably the 2 big ones.
Yeah. But now going to the Microsoft side. Oh, of course, and you still have WordPerfect. You still have there was another one. It might fill up my brain. I'll find it someday. But WordPerfect's still around, and so is Works. They just call them different things now. And you still find the old versions. I mean, you're not, if you're, say, running even Windows 7, if you're running Windows 8, you're a little bound by some certain restrictions and take some interesting installation things to get it on. But you can go out and go on eBay or go to someone and buy an old version like Office 2003 or Office 2007. They still sell it. You can still find it. Still wrapped in its packages because they made so many of them. But with Microsoft, they have 2 versions. The pay version, which is they have Standard, Pro, and Enterprise. Standard is just Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And Pro is Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. It's basically different compilations of the same product. Because they did this because full version of Office was like $500. That's what the Pro is, basically $500, because you're getting about 6 programs. Access, which is a database, which nobody's going to use unless you're starting a business or you feel like wasting half your life trying to build a database, which I have done. You have Front Page, which some people may actually use to make a website.
No,
you're right.
With
Entourage,
something like that.
Yeah, something
it's
like
a
that.
web designing.
It's a web design. I'll call it Front Page because I don't know the new one. We'll call it Front Page-ish. It's basically a web maker, which actually Dreamweaver works much better. Probably more expensive though.
It is.
It actually works. Then you have, of course, the Word and Excel, which are standard tropes. Then you have Outlook, which is actually a contact managing, email managing, and calendar based program as a task. Basically, it makes all one. Collaborate. Thanks you. So it's very useful. Plus, it's a very robust. Well, at least the old versions was. The new ones kind of crash sometimes. That's why I said about 2013 kind of blows. Is that and it doesn't always download email. It's a pain in the butt. Go to 2010. Much better. Next is OneNote. And this one is actually kind of like Outlook in the fact that it's kind of collaborate, but it's made for note-taking. So you would throw in an audio clip, here's a scrap, here's a website, here's some notes that you took. It's a note-taking, basically.
It's a virtual notebook.
Yep. And they made this back when they introduced the tablet version of Windows, and it became more of a hot thing, because then you could actually throw stuff in there. Next is the PowerPoint, which is basically a presentation, and everybody knows what PowerPoint is, because it's just basically slides, audio, video. You can put YouTubes in them.
And people are used to getting the jokes in their email that needs PowerPoint.
Exactly. And that's actually the reason why because people didn't have PowerPoint, but were getting the things, they made a standalone PowerPoint viewer. You couldn't make them, but you could actually view them and go through them. They made that free because people were like, "Oh, okay." So they kind of by crowd control, they created it, and it was actually It was a version 97, which is still the same version that they use now. They haven't actually updated, which is weird. The last one is Publisher, which is basically a desktop publishing. If you were going to make a newspaper or a newsletter or any kind of like pamphlet, the kind of thing, that's what Publisher really does. And that's really Office. That's always what Office things, but it's always been just those kind of programs, getting stuff done.
Right, and most folks confuse Office with Windows.
Oh, yes.
We're asking what version of Windows, and they'll give us like version 2010.
Which there was none.
There was none.
Or vice versa.
You're thinking of Office 2010 or something like that.
And a lot of people actually think that when you buy a computer with, say, Windows on it, you get Office right away. You have Word, you have Excel. Now, granted, a lot of times they put a free version or a trial version on. Not necessarily. That's their bread and butter, Office. So they're going to they'll maybe put a 60-day trial on, but beyond that, you have to buy it.
Right. Or you can buy it when you get your computer.
Mm-hmm.
They'll include it with it, but you do have to buy it.
Exactly. And the cheapest version is about $200.
And and again, that's why Office is the most profitable. One of the most profitable sides of Microsoft is because they're always buying it.
Yep.
They'll give Windows to Dell or HP for like maybe $2 or $10 or something, where as an OEM manufacturer, as they call it, whereas you have to go out and actually purchase it for like $100 or so.
Mm-hmm.
But Office, you're paying fuller price for it.
Exactly. That's the reason why most manufacturers, when they say you're buying and I'm doing finger quotes, a budget computer, one of those pieces of junk that I wouldn't touch. I'm just kidding. I'll fix them. they will put free versions like OpenOffice or the trial version or edition, which is basically a free version of Office 2010. They got rid of it because too many people were figuring out how to install it directly to the computer, because it's supposed to come with the computer already on it. And the problem with this, the starter edition, is that it's not the program itself. It's running a virtual environment of that program. So when you go into the reason why they made it that way was that so people couldn't just copy it from one computer to another computer, hack it, and there you go. You actually had to install it. But all it came with was Word and Excel. And they gave you little Microsoft ads at the lower right-hand corner, which most people ignored. They even a guy even made an ad blocker for it, which is funny, where you run in the lower, it's in the task manager, and it actually took away those ads, so it looked more like full version.
You're running something in the background using resources of a computer, just not see an ad. Okay. Okay.
Exactly. Spend a lot of time on the internet.
But, yeah, and that version works sufficiently enough for most folks. There are some functions. It is a limited version of the program. I don't even know all the limitations just because I just haven't come across them. I do know, for example, like in Word, you can't do a mail merge and you can't do track changes.
And also you can't edit HTML, which is the pain in the butt, especially when you have a piece of HTML you need to edit it. Like, oh, crap.
Okay. So, but yeah, for the average person, that will work just fine. And it's actually called the Starter Edition.
Yep.
It's a technical term.
It's hard to find. You're going to have to do some searching or download site. I may put it on our show notes for you, but it does not work on older like Windows XP.
It needs to be Vista or 7, right?
7 and Windows 8. You have to actually remove a couple things to make it work. It's a pain in the butt because what it uses is called the click to start. Because what Microsoft was doing with Windows 7. Don't remember if it was Vista 2, but they had actually put all the components to install Office on the computer. It's basically a big package called Click to Start.
Which helped out a lot.
Yes, so it means that if you were upgrading from, say you had, you bought a key online, you just threw the key in and it installed it, but it didn't actually have to download anything. It was just all there. Or you had an odd key because there's a version called the Student Teachers Edition, or is it called Home and Student Vision?
Right.
It used to be called Small
Student Teachers. Now it's called Home and
Small Office. Or something like that. It basically the idea was that because these are all licensed single user. That's why the enterprise one is a lot more licenses. You can put on more than one computer. When you buy Office, that is only one computer. Now, if you buy the home and student version or student small business, you get 2 or 3 different activations, so you can actually put on more than one computer. The idea is that you have a home computer, a laptop, and a desktop, so you can put on both.
I was finding more folks who had multiple computers at home and didn't want to buy a $300 program.
They actually, in the first version, which was, I think, the 2003 or 2007 version, you actually had to prove that you went to school. It was a pain in the butt for us to get. Because you actually had to send in your student ID, this is for this, and all that kind of stuff. And once you sent it, then you got the license, because it was like only $150, which was like, sweet. But now you can buy it off the shelf for the same amount. It may have gone up a little bit, like it's $159 or something like that. But yeah, it's about the same.
So what do we recommend here? If you are I'd say a pretty there's a break. When we come back, we'll go over our recommendations. Follow through with that.
Be right back.
Club here on the 12th. Yay!
Mother's Day.
The sun is finally out. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Office Productivity Suites, as they are officially called. What do we recommend here, since we confused everybody?
With the history and all the different versions now that exist?
Basically, Microsoft Office is the king when it comes to this. Still is, and probably will be for a while. Especially if you're a heavy user of these programs, you're a heavy Excel user, a lot of formulas and stuff like that.
Some of the format doesn't work in some of the free versions.
That's the issue. If you starting from scratch, or if you're starting from scratch, or if you're just a light user, you use a letter here or there, just some simple stuff, and things like the Office Start Edition will work just fine. Open Office will work just fine. Because they are free and they do what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a heavier user of it, more advanced features, then you're probably going to want to stick with Microsoft Office.
Exactly.
If you're a current user of Microsoft Office, like Mish was saying, if you decide to switch on over to Open Office, for example, you probably will encounter some compatibility issues. In fact, I think when you install Open Office, one of the last questions that it asks you is if you want to install some kind of like tips or shortcuts to mimic Microsoft Office. You can have your computer, so
You can have actually all of them if you want.
Right, I think I got quite a few, or I might have removed a few. But if you want to try one out, go to OpenOffice.org. In the site that Mish was referencing, it lists all of them. But you can try one, download it. You don't need to get rid of the other one. Open it up. Play with it for a while, see if you like it. If you do, you can even keep Office on your computer, and it won't hurt.
Unless you're talking about the Java stuff, but we digress.
For the average home user, I don't know if you need online access to Microsoft Word and Excel, especially if you've got a satellite connection or a very connection for internet. You probably want to steer away from those just because
it sucks.
Very slow and it's almost unusable.
Yeah.
I do want to mention, of course, our website, smc.io, which is Stone Mountain Consultants. We do website development. We do email hosting, even website hosting. We also go over, we remote in.
Fix your problems. Fix you.
I don't have to remote into the person, but maybe the computer. But we're also sponsoring and attending the 30th annual homeschooling conference this June, next month actually, in Richmond, Virginia. Information about it is on our website. There will be more information coming on that, so we're kind of excited about that. We're also going to be providing
tablets,
computer technology to them. So we'll
people
be
easier to register.
Registering with these tablets, so we're kind of excited with that. We're going to have our own booth as well, so if you're going to be in the area, if you do homeschool and you do actually plan on attending, stop by. I think we're booth 601, actually. 601 is our booth.
So that's it for this week. Check us out next week. Actually, I think we should replay our cloud one so people have more understanding about the cloud. So check us out next week.